San Bernardino County has always been the biggest, and once again, we're the best. This year, we earned an incredible 200 achievement awards from the National Association of Counties, winning more than any other county for the third year in a row. There are more than 3,000 counties in the United States, and San Bernardino County continues to stand above them all in terms of accolades for innovation, efficiency, and public service. Under the Board of Supervisors' leadership, we were honored this year for making it easier to adopt a new pet, raising awareness of the dangers of fentanyl, bringing Wi-Fi connectivity to Ayala Park, safeguarding employee emails from phishing scams, cleaning up our communities, rebuilding the Birch Creek Culvert Crossing with storm readiness in mind, launching the County Museum's new and improved website, inspiring the next generation of county employees, improving access to health care records, supporting production of new housing units through a housing development fund. And this is just a sample of the 200 national awards that San Bernardino County earned for the services we provide to our residents and visitors.
ARMC's therapy dog program consists of dogs that have been certified to come and visit patients here at the hospital who may be feeling a little lonely, who may have been here long term. It's just a little visit to put a smile on their face.
You want to guess what she weighs?
130.
Close, 130. People do respond very well to dogs, especially in a situation like a hospital.
When people meet therapy dogs, right away, the tension just kind of melts away. It lowers their blood pressure.
This is Nova. She is basically a Cane Corso, Italian Mastiff. She belongs to an association called Pet Partners, which is the largest therapy dog organization in the country. She actually loves coming to the hospital and being with the people, and she seems to sense what people need her the most.
Oh yeah, you like your ears scratched, huh? It takes you away from, the present, gives you a little feeling of being home.
Going in and interacting with the patients' families, it helps them more than the actual patients most of the time.
You can't pet a therapy dog and not be in a good mood. This is Tula. Tula Louise. She's going to be 5 in June. She's been a therapy dog now going on 3 years. We had to first get our CGC, which is our Canine Good Citizen. We just 2 years ago joined First Responder Therapy Dogs.
Would you like to see the dogs?
We try to be here on Mondays, and then she's here during the week on
Tuesdays and Fridays.
And then we have a third dog that's
Here
Sunday
Friday afternoons and Sundays.
and Sunday.
They're bringing a lot of joy, a lot of kindness to us. The patients love them. The staff absolutely adore them. They bring that stress level down. They're not just here for the patient, and they do a wonderful job at it.
My favorite part about bringing her here is seeing the joy that she brings to everyone, because I know how happy she makes me at home. So just sharing the joy.
Both Nova and I love coming here, enjoying interacting with the people, whether it's the staff or the families or the patients. It's just a good experience, like you're contributing something.
Today, we are celebrating the installation of a 1923 Ford Model T here at the San Bernardino County Museum. It was donated by Dr. Herbert Fisher and the Fisher family. This car really reflects the development of the car culture in Southern California and really all of America, and it reflects the development of the middle class. The Model T opened up access to travel for most Americans. This car specifically was used in the area in agriculture for the last 70 years.
It's a 1923 Model T Roadster pickup. With our roots, there's 4 generations of us that are from San Bernardino, and I was always very happy to share it with the community.
So because of the connection between our board chair and Dr. Fisher, after meeting with David and some of his staff, he decided to be gracious and give the Model T to the museum here.
The vehicle that has been donated to the County of San Bernardino Museum is here at Fleet because we are going to get it prepped to be able to have it as a display within the museum. And so some of the things we do is drain the fuels, get the electrical system ready so that people can look at it, and there's no dangers of any fuels or any type of oils that would leak onto the museum floor.
These are drastically different than modern vehicles, so it does take us a little bit of research. I mean, this vehicle is 102 years old.
Obviously, the Model T through history has been a sign of progression, but this car tells the story of Redlands, San Bernardino, in 3 lifetimes, essentially.
It was owned by an orange grove grower in Redlands who was a customer of my father's retail flower nursery, Flowerland, in San Bernardino, which started in 1947. In 1950, my father convinced the orange grove grower to sell him the car for $50.
And then it was a delivery truck for the Flowerland nursery.
It's kind of interesting because we lived at the nursery and we've been taking care of the car since.
So for some of that time, it sat in a garage, but for much of that time, Dr. Fisher was restoring the car to its perfect mint condition that it's in today. He had it in parades, he had it in celebrations.
So I gave some thought to where it should go, and when I found out about the museum, I felt like couldn't be a better place for it.
I think the addition of this Model T to the collection, especially here in history and here in the citrus industry exhibit, furthers the collection that the museum already has. I think it further helps to tell the story of not only agriculture but citrus, and just the connection between the Fisher family, who have been longtime residents of our county, to the museum. It's just a wonderful match made in heaven.
And now we get 80,000 visitors a year who are going to be able to enjoy it.
Disaster can strike at any moment. Whether it's a winter snowstorm, summer wildfire, or an earthquake, being ready is our best line of defense. San Bernardino County knows that we're stronger together, so we're asking you to prepare with us. Visit prepare.sbcounty.gov to equip yourself with knowledge. Sign up for emergency alerts or download our Ready SB County app. Learn how to create a family plan, assemble an emergency kit, and more. Preparedness is a responsibility we all share, and preparedness starts here. Discover why there's so much to love in San Bernardino County by visiting love.sbcounty.gov.
Today, we are at Calico Ghost Town celebrating California Days.
California Days is a 2-day festival that we have every year at Calico, and it's to represent the history of California and the significance of Calico Ghost Town.
We have a ton of activities that celebrate the history of California.
The best thing I love about Calico is that it's about living history. And we're here to show you what it would have been like living in town during this time.
Calico is very important to the country and to San Bernardino County because it was the largest silver strike in California. So it really put San Bernardino on the map. A lot of money came out of here and a lot of very wealthy people made a lot of money here.
The miners, people forget, were the young soldiers coming out from the Civil War to find their fortunes. Because Calico was so isolated, this was the schoolhouse that everybody came to.
People here were resilient, lived through scorching summers and freezing winters. You had to be a pretty tough cookie. Walter Knott saved this town by buying it in 1951. It was completely going to pot because it wasn't a valid mining town anymore. But he had worked here years before and fell in love with it, as a lot of people that are associated with Calico do.
We want people to know their history and know how important it is and where our roots are.
It's exciting to be able to go back in time. A lot of places no longer exist like this.
There's so much for the entire family to do. A lot of music, we have food, we have drink, and just a lot of people and character. We have the gunfights.
It's important for the community to stay in touch with their history, to know what California's been through, especially San Bernardino. It just brings the community together.
This is a part of our history.
Something magical about this place, it really is.
We're actually out here. We're showing you a chance to experience it for yourself.
I would say if you're free for the weekend, you can come out, get some good food, meet some good people, and learn something.
During a major disaster, staying informed is crucial. Sign up for the San Bernardino County Telephone Emergency Notification System, TENS, to receive emergency alerts for your area. TENS alerts are sent via phone and text, providing you with critical updates such as evacuation warnings and orders. Simply register with a valid San Bernardino County address. Don't wait until it's too late. Register now at oes.sbcounty.gov. Connect with us, stay prepared, stay informed.
Do you own a property in San Bernardino County? You may be owed a property tax refund. To find out if you have a refund, please visit the ATC website at sbcountyatc.gov. On the left side of the website, click Unclaimed Tax Refund Search. You can search for an unclaimed property tax refund by parcel number or street address. For example, if your address is 123 Palm Street, only enter 123 Palm in the search bar. There is no need to enter street, avenue, lane, or any other portion of your address. If you have an unclaimed refund, the bill number, parcel number, situs address, refund amount, and a link to the form will appear on screen. If you don't have a refund, you'll be notified of that as well. To request a claim form, click Form on the left-hand side of the screen, and the refund information will show on the next screen. If the mailing address is correct, click Yes and enter your name, email address, and phone number. If the mailing address is not correct, click No and complete the form, including where you want the form to be mailed. Your request will be processed in the order it was received, and the appropriate claim form will be mailed to the address provided. If you have any questions, please call 909-382-3090.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. It's being made in somebody's garage or their home, not controlled. It's 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine.
Stop the Void is a California nonprofit corporation dedicated to educating and raising awareness in our communities about the scourge of fentanyl. We started this organization because I lost my own son, Daniel Huerta, who was only 16 and a half years old when he passed away due to fentanyl poisoning. Due to the stigma of addiction and overdose, most parents feel that this can never happen to them, and I'm truly sorry, but it can.
San Bernardino County started with the Fentanyl Doesn't Care But We Do campaign. Fentanyl doesn't care if you're a mother, a father, a son, a daughter, a co-worker, a friend. It just doesn't care. But we do in the county of San Bernardino, and that's why we created this campaign to bring awareness to the community.
San Bernardino County and Stop the Void have partnered together. Come to San Bernardino County website, Department of Behavioral Health, look at all the resources that they have, and make sure that you speak to your children. Numbers just came out for 2022, and it's north of 109,800 drug deaths in the United States. Roughly 77% of all of those drug deaths were due to fentanyl. This is why this message and this campaign is so, so important. If you think that it can't happen to you, think twice.
As we look at this monument, may we reflect on the memories and lessons of each very precious life, because it is this, our shared story, with all its pain and tragedy, that binds us together as a diverse community of people around our county today, and even with those around our world. May this curtain of courage represent to you that we choose to join you in honoring the lives of your loved ones, our loved ones, and we'll never forget them.
December 2nd, 2015 was an unimaginable day for all of us. 14 people we loved were taken away from us on that day. Our employees were spiritually and physically wounded. It changed us all forever. Following the attack, the Board of Supervisors formed a memorial committee made up of family members, survivors, first responders, and county staff, so we could build something that would stand forever as a testament to our commitment never to forget.
The Curtain of Courage is a place for us, one of mourning, but also we want it to be a celebration of life, akin to a small set of chapels, each signifying an individual loss, but creating a place that marks this day in time.
And today, we're here to honor the memories of those that succumbed during that day, but also to honor them that are with us today and their families that move forward. To be able to see this curtain of courage gives us all in San Bernardino County, the state and the nation, the courage to move forward.
In 2018, almost 3 years after the attack, the San Bernardino County December 2nd Legacy Report was published. It was intended to be a publicly available resource for communities and organizations that must respond and recover from similar situations. Already, that report is helping other families and other communities learn from your experience.
Good morning. I would like to call this meeting to order and thank you all for being here today. This morning, our pledge and invocation will be presented by the 4th District.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, everyone. It's my honor to introduce Executive Pastor Troy Spillman. Pastor Troy Spillman joined the Life Bible Fellowship Church, a non-denominational church located in Upland, as the outreach pastor in 2017 and transitioned to the executive pastor in 2022. He grew up in the Bay Area and graduated from UC Santa Barbara with a BA in pre-law. After a year working with at-risk teens in Denver, Colorado, he entered full-time ministry and served as the JH youth pastor for 20 years. Pastor Spillman completed his MA in pastoral ministry from the Liberty University while serving as the executive pastor. He has served as a volunteer chaplain for the Santa Barbara County Fire, City Fire, County Sheriff's Department, and as police chaplain for Upland PD. He and his wife Heidi have been married for 28 years and have 3 adult children. Their favorite adventures are whitewater rafting, hiking, playing pickleball, and watching anything related to Marvel, Star Wars, or Lord of the Rings. Thank you, Pastor, for joining us. Please lead us in the prayer and pledge.
Supervisors, for the invitation. Let us pray. O Lord, please grant wisdom from on high to the supervisors and leaders of our county. Your word tells us that if we ask for wisdom, that you will grant it to us without reproach. Please give special understanding and insight into our surrounding communities. Just as you care and love for these communities, give our leaders an expanded heart for them also. May they see and have a heart for the needs of the vulnerable, knowing that you see their situation and that you care. Please grant compassion for the things that you care for. When our leaders become aware of the issues and problems, please give them your divine insight to know how to tackle them with wisdom, creativity, and prudence. Give resolve and courage to confront injustice with the truth and with clarity between what is right and wrong. I know that you take these responsibilities, that they take these responsibilities seriously, so grant them favor and unity in all that they do. And please protect our first responders that are willing to move toward danger, not away from it. Grant them special insight and resolve as they bring care to the very situations that they will encounter. Please align us and our county with your will and your plan. Thank you for your provision. In so many ways, we are a blessed community. Continue to provide and guide our county. I pray all these things in the name of Jesus, my Lord and Savior. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor. We will now move on to our memorial adjournments. Vice Chair Baca.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have 3 adjourned in memories. The first one, our heavy heart shared with the recent passing of Betty Dean Anderson. She was 94 years of age. San Bernardino, she was a trailblazer, educator, and public servant. She had a strong commitment to her family, and she was actually a biology teacher in the Rialto Unified School District at Eisenhower High School, a longtime educator, and actually served on the San Bernardino City Council for 2 terms. And Miss Anderson and her husband, Andy, of 74 years, shared the spirit of adventure and civic pride. They were very involved in the community. I remember the first time being in public office, seeing her out in community and being very, very active. She is survived by her children, grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. Councilwoman Betty Dean Anderson, may you rest in peace. The second one is Betty Sutcliffe of Arrowhead Farms. She was married to William Sutcliffe, her husband, for 68 years. And recently, our office just honored her husband, Mr. Sutcliffe, for his service in the military. Ms. Sutcliffe was a woman of strong faith. Her unwavering devotion to God and her family was evident in every aspect of life. She was a lifelong animal lover. Ms. Sutcliffe adored cats, and she held a deep appreciation for fine arts. And William and Betty worshiped together at Our Lady of Assumption, which is in the Arrowhead Farms community, for over 65 years, where they both volunteered at various activities sponsored by their church, a very devout Catholic. May you rest in peace, Betty Sutcliffe. And the last one is Sandra K. Troxel of San Bernardino, formerly of Rialto. And I actually grew up and spent a lot of time at her apartment. Me and her son, Kurt Troxel, were childhood friends going back from elementary school, junior high, and high school. And our heart goes out to the Troxel family of San Bernardino. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Cook?
Yes, I want to adjourn in memory for Ernie Coral, who passed away on May 1st at 81 years old. Resident of Victorville, served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. He's survived by his wife, brother, 2 sisters, including Victorville Mayor Liz Becerra. His service was held this past Saturday. My condolences are to the family. Coincidentally, I want to apologize to the chair because I was in her district and they asked me to speak at another small memorial service out at Copper Mountain College. And ironically enough, at this May of 1967, and I got messed up myself on May 1967, and I went and I was the most dangerous weapon in the world, a second lieutenant with a map and a compass in Vietnam. I had some outstanding troops, but in May, it just seemed we had a lot of casualties, all in certain areas. Maybe it was the rainy season ending, I don't know. You get emotional, at least I do, in these things. And for it to all happen, all these, I'm not saying I'm superstitious about anything that happened in May there, but I've been to enough funerals. And maybe it was the end of the rainy season, what have you. But for any that had, lost in any war, with me, particularly Vietnam, it never goes away. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Hagman. This morning I have 2 adjourned memories. It is with great sadness that the entire board adjourns in memory in honor of the passing of Colonel Frank Guevara, who was our former Director of Veterans Affairs. Frank dedicated nearly 38 years to the United States Army, serving with distinction in Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. He spent 6 years with the 82nd Airborne Division in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, an experience that shaped his lifelong commitment to service. His military journey led him to Cal Poly Pomona, where he earned a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Information Systems and received his officer commission through the Reserve Officer Training Program, and then later went on to the California National Guard, where he also earned an MBA from University of Laverne. Before taking the helm at the VA at the Veterans Affairs in 2015, Frank served San Bernardino County for decades as an application manager in the Information Services Department, where he began his career in 1989. He was deeply passionate about helping others, and he cared immensely for the people that he served and the causes that he championed, especially when it came to veterans. His legacy is one of integrity, compassion, and an unwavering dedication. Frank loved Veterans Affairs and the entire team there. It was a small but mighty team, he used to say. San Bernardino County often led other counties in securing benefits for our veterans and their families. Frank had a heart for our veterans and led with his heart. Although he was a retired colonel and a director, he was humbled and embodied a servant leadership. On any given day, he could be found speaking to veterans one-on-one, whether it was in the lobby of the office, at a resource fair, or even using veterans in prison to ensure that their families had access to benefits. Frank made it his mission to ensure that no veteran was forgotten, and we will never forget him. My heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with Frank and his family and friends during this difficult time, and it is our honor to adjourn in his memory today. It is also with great sadness that I announce the passing of Jasmine James. Many of you know Jasmine as Ashley's daughter. She works for ITD and is a member of our county family. She passed away this past Saturday, and she was only 24 years old. And I had the opportunity to know Jasmine through her mom and to meet her personally, and she fought a courageous battle with cancer. And it was just heartbreaking and tragic to lose her this last week. But she leaves an incredible legacy and an example for all of us to lead a life that you live every moment to the fullest. And so, Ashley, to you and your family, we are saddened by your loss. We know that she's no longer in pain and in a better place. And she leaves behind Ashley and her loving boyfriend, Cole, and we adjourn in her memory today. Thank you. We do not have any special presentations, so we will move on to our reports from County Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are no reportable items from closed session.
And reports from the CEO, Luther.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Nothing to report this morning.
All right. Individual board member comments. Vice Chair Baca.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to announce with the passing of our past Commissioner Beatrice Hughes that we do have an opening for our Behavioral Health Commission application. So if anyone's interested in becoming a Behavioral Health Commission, you live in the 5th District in San Bernardino County, please reach out to our office or go to our website. We try to encourage those to continue to be involved and thank those that are involved in our commissions. Recently, we had our Youth Advisory Council Senior Ceremony. We actually just across the way, we had a ceremony where we awarded 17 scholarships to our students that volunteered from our community for the amount of $1,500. So it was a great partnership, but it's great to give all these students exposure to county government, and many of them have been accepted to great schools, UCLA, Berkeley, Cornell, great group of kids. So we're excited about the future of our students in San Bernardino County. And this weekend, had the opportunity to attend with my colleague, Madam Chair, the ribbon cutting for Fire Station 226. This has been a project that's been in the works for many, many years. I want to thank Madam Chair and my colleagues for supporting, our investment in our first responders, but most of all, the fire stations, which have been long overdue, and it's just a great thing. It's a great improvement for the Del Rosa community. We're excited. We're excited about improved services, and just it's a gem. And not to mention all the investments the county has made in that immediate area with our McKee Center, the TAD building, and then subsequently we're going to follow up with some sidewalk improvements in front of that fire station, which is a $1 million investment of money that we received for a CARP grant. So those are great things in the community. And also just want to congratulate our county staff. Last Monday, we were awarded $38.7 million for our Pacific Village campus. So this is going to give the county of San Bernardino to fully build out the Pacific Village campus, which is about 7 acres located on the border of 3rd and 5th District on Arden and Pacific. It's a great project. We're looking at adding 32 new treatment beds, serving approximately 384 substance abuse users annually, and it's going to increase our capacity for substance use disorder beds, which is a big issue for us, long needed in this county, but a great investment, and I'm looking forward to that. So just want to thank staff for doing a great job with that. And just want to highlight just a few board items in relations to the 5th District. Item 35, we're using some discretionary money to make some investments in 2 ball fields in the city of San Bernardino. And these ones were driven by the community. The first one is Newmark Little League. I was approached by Newmark about having some potential improvements, and this is on the north end of San Bernardino, and then also in the Mount Vernon community, La Placita Park, which we were this was brought to us by one of our local car clubs in honor of Route 66 celebrating their 100-year anniversary next year. This is a $1.3 million investment, which will improve the park and bring ADA accessibility with a 25% match from the city of San Bernardino. The other thing is item 50, we have investments in some of our preschools throughout the entire county of San Bernardino. I just want to highlight the Rialto Eucalyptus Center, which will be improved, and the Whitney Young in San Bernardino, and the $2.8 million investment for a new child development center, which is a partnership that we have with our housing authority, which in the projects in the city of San Bernardino. Item 51, the partnership that we're having with county schools. Many probation officers are going to be working in our school districts, but I'll particularly highlight the San Bernardino School District, the Colton Joint Unified, and San Bernardino County Schools. And the last one is just, I know it's a discussion item, but item 111, it's the underground utility project, which will underground some areas in the Bloomington community off the Cedar I-10 improvement. This will help economic development, but also safety, and also improve opportunity for new and economic growth in the Bloomington community. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Supervisor Cook?
I have nothing.
Supervisor Hagman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple other follow up with my colleague on some highlights of the agenda. Item 61 is the extended agreement with UC Davis Cohort Shelter Medicine Program to provide veterinary services for animals in our county shelters. And we're just extending that off and looking forward to that. Remember, there's only 2 veterinary schools in California. So item number 92 is MOU with the City of Ontario to provide workforce development career services on the West End. Item 112 is a public hearing for underground utilities, including a half a mile along Mission Boulevard in Montclair. Rule 20A credits will cover all proposed projects that will help, as Vice Chair Baca said, with improved economic viability for that region. And item 113 is a code change, increase the maximum allowable kilowattage for residential accessory wind energy systems from 10 to 25 kilowattages. So it looks like we're bringing in technology. We're updating our codes for that. So thank you for the staff and team for doing that. I serve as representative for IREN, and we're going to receive $1.5 million to the county to expand and enhance existing workforce development programs, focusing on preparing for workforce for energy employers. And then a new flight coming back to Ontario is the JetBlue to New York for the summer service. So if you're planning your trip to the East Coast, now you got both Baltimore and New York from Ontario could fly direct. So we're looking forward to bringing JetBlue back there. And lastly, my office open house in the district is tomorrow. So if you're in the West End, please stop by. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And I would like to highlight a couple of items or thank Public Works for the items that we have on our agenda today with National Trails Highway. It is a lot of bridges out there, and it serves our rural communities, and it really has an impact on those of us that travel the rural roads. And so I'd like to thank the department for all of their work to advance these projects. And with that, Lena, do we have any revisions or changes to today's agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No changes today.
Very well. If a board member has a conflict of interest to disclose, now would be the time to do so on any items on today's agenda. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent calendar, which today consists of items number 2 through 109. I have 2 requests to speak, and before we get to those, any member wishing to pull an item or discuss briefly? All right, we'll begin with Cheryl Anaya and Jane Hunt-Rubel.
Good morning, Madam Chair and supervisors. I haven't been here for a long time, so I don't know what's going to come out proper. So let's see. 92 is the hazarded designation of fire hazard severity zones, and I happen to live in Lytle Creek. And the reason I came up here to speak was the forest and got a grant, and they cut around all Lytle Creek so they can have access to fight fires better. But all the debris that they cut, they left in big piles. If you drive up to Lytle Creek, you can see those piles, and they're massive. But yesterday's why I really decided to come and speak. I'm part of the Friends of Lytle Creek, and every 2 months we go and clean up the creek from trash. So I'm walking, we parked at Hidden Acres, and I'm going north, and they cut down, somebody did, it was a massive crew that must have done it. They cut down a lot of tree branches, limbs, and they're all piled up. And do you know how much traffic was coming by? Just a match or a spark. So we've always been a hazardous zone living up there with the Santa Anas, but now, hey, it's really bad. And I know it's not your fault for this new zoning, it's the state. But if you can talk to people to remove all this debris, people are telling me in Lytle Creek that they want to burn us out. And I know you guys don't, but the great possibility, there's so many lunatics around anymore. In fact, we had an incident Sunday before last at church. Somebody wanting to go through the forest, and the forest said they could. And he was camped out at one of those big old fire hazard zones that they cut down. Oh, it's really getting scary. So I decided to come. I haven't been and spoke in like 14 years. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. And I want to let you know our fire chief is here, and I represent Lytle Creek, and he and I will get together on that afterwards. So thank you very much for your comments. Jane Hunt-Rubel.
Thank you very much, the lady from Lytle Creek. I live in Musqueam, and I noticed today on the agenda 109, and I'm all for it, except I'd like to see a map of, the community of Musqueam probably is in a high severity area. So I'm all for this, but I'd like to hear more about it, because anything that I remember in 2003, it came within 3 blocks of my house, because when the 2 fires joined each other, I knew it would happen. They came down Cajon Wash, and I kept looking towards the wash area, and I saw the orange flames, and I said, yeah, we are in a bad, area for fires. So I'm hoping this helps. And I appreciate the San Bernardino County Fire. They're great people to protect our communities. So I just hope I'd like to learn more about it and see the maps of where areas are in a high severity. And I hope it doesn't affect my homeowner's insurance. That's the only thing I'm really concerned about. But anyway, thank you very much, guys. And thank you, board members.
Thank you very much. That is the last request to speak that I have, so I will entertain a motion.
Hagman seconds.
Thank you. Vice Chair Baca on the motion and Supervisor Hagman on the second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the consent calendar passes with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
Very well. We will now move on to our discussion calendar, starting with item number 110 is a public hearing and resolution rescinding pedestrian mid-block crosswalk on Baker Boulevard in the Baker area, being presented this morning by Noel Castillo. So I will open the public hearing. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair, board members. As you stated, my name is Noel Castillo. I'm the Director of the Department of Public Works, and the item before you is the consideration of removal of a mid-block crossing. Next slide. As part of the design process for the county's Baker Bridge replacement project, staff reviewed whether the existing mid-block crosswalk on Baker Boulevard was still necessary, as it currently experiences very limited pedestrian activity, if any. Next slide. Upon evaluation, it was determined that the crosswalk was originally adopted in 1966 to serve residents of the Arns Royal Hawaiian Motel. However, the motel closed in 2009, and the crosswalk no longer serves a functional purpose. Next slide. Reinstalling the mid-block crosswalk after the completion of the Baker Boulevard improvements would be unnecessary, as it could create a false sense of safety for pedestrians where a crossing is not warranted. There's currently no proposed development for the motel site. The existing structure is beyond repair and would require full demolition and reconstruction to meet current building codes. Should a new development be proposed in the future, the need for the mid-block crosswalk can be reevaluated at that time based on an applicable warrants and pedestrians' demand. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. I have one request to speak at this time from Carlo.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Crosswalks exist to protect the public. They create a safe, visible space so people don't get run over, and that's basic. Well, I approve that this motion, if there's no one using it, why not, right? But where are the crosswalks for our due process rights? Because in San Bernardino County Child and Family Services, families are getting run over and no one's stopping the traffic. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution says, "No state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." That's not a suggestion, that's a guarantee. I fought for that guarantee. I served my country as a special operations soldier. I risked my life for the Constitution, and yet I came home to this, a system that tramples those rights like they mean nothing. In my case, my children were abused by their mother. I tried to protect them. I tried to speak up, but instead of being heard, I was silenced. Then came the allegations handed to me after the hearing. No time to prepare, no way to defend myself, and just like that, I was placed on a child abuser index, labeled without a trial. Others told me they got their paperwork 10 minutes before their court hearing. This isn't due process. This is a bureaucratic ambush. And the damage doesn't stop there. The appeals process only considers the official record. But how complete is that record if your side was never allowed in? When the truth is excluded, justice is denied. Christina Rodriguez falsified allegations against me. Crystal Newman covered up that my children were being groped by their mother. Humberto Santana stripped me from my parental right to consent of travel. These people are protected and they get their due process. And we parents, we demand the same. We are not second-class citizens. We are not second-class citizens. No white person should stand above a black or brown parent. Not in law, not in practice, not in this community, and not in this county. I just met a black family who was forced to surrender their children immediately. Meanwhile, my children stayed with their white, rich abuser, a woman with money, who did far worse. That's not safety. The perception is that's racial and class bias in action. A San Bernardino attorney told me once, CFS owns the field, the game, and the rules, and they get to change the game and the rules whenever they want. And that's true. I witnessed it myself. This isn't child protection. This is institutional abuse. They hide behind the phrase, we're protecting children, but we are aware that this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That banner now conceals corruption, racism, and family destruction. We're not asking for special treatment. We're demanding rights promised to us, the rights that I fought for and almost died when Russian 220-millimeter rockets hit my position. Judge a tree by its fruit, and the fruit of San Bernardino CFS is rotten to the core. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have any board questions, comments? Supervisor Hagman.
I have no problem moving this motion. I'm just wondering why you need to come to the board to get a board action when I assume that we do assessments all the time when traffic studies and there's certain state rules that we have to follow, when to put crosswalks and to put stoplights and new signs, and there's a process for all that. I'm just surprised that you have to come to the board to actually remove one.
Correct. There's many things that we usually have to bring to the board for approval for a couple of reasons. One being design immunity, to make sure that we have the board's approval of removing something, as well as there's things that are stipulated by the code that need to be brought to the board, stop signs, red curbs that we're painting.
I'll move the item.
Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. I'm going to close the public hearing before I call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the item passes with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
Thank you very much. Item number 111 is a public hearing to consider the formation of an underground utility district for Mission Boulevard, Valley Boulevard, and Beach Avenue in Montclair, Rialto, and Fontana, being presented again by Noel. I will open the public hearing.
Good morning once again. As the chair stated, we're here to discuss the request for formation of underground districts for Mission Boulevard, Valley Boulevard, and Beach Boulevard. Next slide. Rule 28 allows utilities to allocate funds defined as work credit to convert overhead electric facilities underground. The program focuses on reducing visual clutter in communities by undergrounding overhead power lines for aesthetic and public benefit purposes. San Bernardino County has just over $14.5 million in program funds for qualified projects. These projects must be allowed through a resolution. These projects must be allocated through a resolution approved by the board and completed by December 31st, 2033. The formation of the underground utility district is required under both CPUC Rule 20A and Section 67.0205 of the San Bernardino County Code to allow for the use of Rule 28 funds for project implementation. Once formed, the districts remain in effect. Any future utility installation of place or replacement within the boundaries of these districts must be constructed underground. In order for undergrounding projects to qualify for Rule 28 funds, the local agency must determine that the underground project is in the public's interest for one or more of the following reasons shown on the presentation. Next slide. The department worked with Southern California Edison to evaluate 17 locations. Of the 17 locations, 3 projects met all the requirements. Next slide. Mission Boulevard from Central Avenue to Benson Avenue. The estimated cost to underground overhead facilities in this segment is approximately $4.2 million for the half mile. Next slide. Next, we have Valley Boulevard Underground Utilities Districts. from cedar to spruce. The estimated cost of underground overhead facilities is approximately $3.8 million for this half-mile segment. Next slide. And the final segment is Beach Avenue Underground Utility District. Beach Avenue estimated cost for undergrounding overhead facilities is approximately $6.6 million for the just over a mile segment. Next slide. On April 29th, 2025, the Board of Supervisors adopted resolutions of intent to form the following underground utility districts. All affected utilities and property owners have been notified of the intent to place overhead utility lines underground within the proposed underground utility districts. Upon final action by the board to form the underground utility districts, Southern California Edison will perform the undergrounding work at no cost to the county or to the affected property owners. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? I just want to say Supervisor Cook and I are really happy to help fund the continued infrastructure down in the valleys, but don't forget about us out in the deserts when the time comes. I have one request to speak, Claudia Moreno. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, it's my first time here. So, in regards to the Beach Avenue project, I just have a few questions that some of the homeowners and myself are wondering. When does the construction begin once it's moved forward to start? When would that start, if anyone is able to tell us? There is some concern on that street as far as when it starts, including with the children that go up and down the street on Beach. There's an elementary school that is just a few houses down from actually our property. And so there's that concern. Also is how will the residences be connected as far as underground and how that will work or affect the property. And also, some individuals are inquiring about the walls, if there's a wall being built, or is it just the poles that are going away? And if it's still going to be just the ground and gravel that's there. And also if lights will be added on the street as well, and if there's an artist rendering for it.
We have a gentleman in the audience named Mo, and he will approach you after this item and give you the answers and be able to connect you better.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, that is the last request to speak that I have. If there are no board member comments or questions, I will close the public hearing and entertain a vote. Thank you for the motion, Supervisor Hagman, and the second, Vice Chair Baca. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item 111 passes with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
Thank you very much. Item number 112 is an ordinance amending the development code relating to residential accessory wind energy systems, being presented this morning by Mark Wardlaw. And this is another public hearing, so I will officially open it.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Mark Wardlaw, Land Use Services Director. This item is a proposed development code amendment related to residential accessory wind energy systems, which are also referred to as wind turbines. The applicant is Mr. Joseph Gusta Dzengji of Gati Solar Design. He does have a representative that is on his way who is caught up in traffic. I'm going to push it myself. This application requests a development code amendment to increase the maximum allowable kilowatts for residential accessory wind turbines from 10 kilowatts up to 25 kilowatts. The amendment would apply to all regions in the unincorporated area of San Bernardino, limited to residential accessory structures. This amendment only applies to residential wind turbines and is shown in this development code table 84-14A. The highlight of 25 kilowatts in red is the only change associated with this. The current 10 kilowatt maximum was established in 2012 for small site-oriented residential accessory wind turbines. Before 2012, the county limited accessory wind energy systems by the number of on-site accessory structures. Due to advances in technology, newer turbines can now produce more energy than previous models. Increasing the maximum to 25 kilowatts would allow a wider variety of small, site-oriented turbines to be sold and installed throughout the county for residential accessory uses. To demonstrate the intent of the proposed amendment, this slide contains or compares older, newer turbine models sold by the applicant. The rated power in this table reflects the actual real-world conditions, with the older models producing 8.9 kilowatts and the newer models producing 15.6 kilowatts at the same wind speed. The nominal peak power represents the maximum short-term power output. The older model could produce a maximum of 10 kilowatts, while the newer model can produce a maximum of 25. The applicant has provided this image of a site located outside of the county to demonstrate the visual impacts of each model. The older 10 kilowatt model is shown on the right, and the newer 25 kilowatt model is shown on the left. Again, there's no changes to the maximum tower heights or any other standards. The ultimate difference, the net change, is the increase in height is 4.25 feet. This slide shows the renewable energy and conservation element table, number one, that establishes the power loads established for community and utility-oriented solar. The proposed amendment is consistent with the maximum power generation established by the 2017 Renewable Energy and Conservation element of the countywide policy plan. The element limits site-oriented ground-mounted accessory wind systems to 70 kilowatts. This 70 kilowatt limit is higher than both the current and proposed limits that are now contained in the development code. There we go. The proposed project is consistent with the countywide policy plan's renewable energy and conservation element goal 2 and implementing policies of 2.3 and 2.31. The proposed project is an activity that is within the scope of the program EIR that was prepared and adopted for the countywide policy plan update, the supplemental environmental impact report for the greenhouse gas reduction plan, and the addendum prepared for the REC element. In accordance with County Development Code, hearing notices were sent to interested parties on February 18th and published in the San Bernardino Sun newspaper on February 24th, advertising the Planning Commission's hearing to be held on March 6th, 2025. 3 public comments were received in opposition to the increase, citing concerns about visual impacts, noise, and the potential for bird strikes. These comments came from the community members of Newberry Springs and the Morongo Basin Conservation Association. The Planning Commission recommended board approval of this item by a vote of 5-0. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have no requests to speak on this item. Any board member comments or questions?
One question, Madam Chair. Thank you. Thank you for the report, and I do agree with that. Seems like our codes always have to catch up with technology, and I believe first question is, for the residents that are concerned with this, that each particular unit would have to get a separate permit for that, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so every individual who goes out and get this, we have to go through another process to make sure and that obligation. So this is that much bigger. I'm just wondering, you mentioned something about the 70 kilowatts and different levels, and this bringing it up to 25. Since it seems like we're a little bit backwards as far as keeping up with technology, why wouldn't we go to 35 or 40 or something like that at that point if we're allowed to do that today?
Through the chair, we could do that. The 70 kilowatt is covering a number of different types of facilities, And for example, if there was a ground-mounted or roof-mounted solar facility, particularly ground-mounted, that would be a larger footprint for the solar facility itself. If the board wanted to focus on removing or changing and elevating the maximum kilowatt for the accessory wind turbine, we could do that.
Technology is always advancing, and it seems like we update this every 3 to 5 to 10 years. If it's not a bigger footprint for the wind for residential use, but the technology gets better to produce, because right now it looks like, according to your chart, the current applicant has a device that goes up to the maximum today. So 3 years from now, it may be a little more efficient, or maybe able to get it. I would assume that we want to encourage, that kind of technology to be imposed. I don't know if we could do that, and when my colleagues would be willing to bump it up to a higher amount if it doesn't change anything else as far as the size.
Through the chair, one moment.
Please.
I'll introduce Maren Wells, our supervising planner, who drafted this report and took it to Planning Commission.
Good morning.
Are we within CEQA limits for this notification, fitting within the EIR and allowing additional kilowatts in this action? Yeah. And I'll let you answer.
Thank you. I believe from a CEQA perspective that we would be able to increase up to 70. The applicant's request up to 25 was based on, the industry standards that we've talked about. We do have the non-residential wind turbines that are currently capped at 50 kilowatts. So for the purpose of this request, we were just going up to the 25 as requested by the applicant, with the intent of revisiting the other standards later on.
I just don't want to be a brand specific or technology specific, since whoever applies for a residential green energy is going to have to go through a separate process, whether it's solar or wind or whatever else they want to bring up. So each individual project could be looked at. So obviously if they want to increase the height or the size of a wind turbine, that would be something that your department would look at on an individual basis. But if we give that flexibility, then you could be looking with a little bigger range. And I don't know what my other colleagues think about that, but I'd be happy to go up to like 50 or 70, whatever the maximum CPUC allows us to do.
I'm concerned about the size for our residents. I know that Newberry Springs and Morongo Basin are my areas, and so I wasn't there at the Planning Commission meeting to hear those comments. That would be my consideration.
Through the chair, another option to consider at this point in time is to proceed with this recommendation. And as we go forward within land use services and begin to implement development code changes, we will have other opportunities to study and address this type of change in the future.
Appreciate that. Is that okay? Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'll move the item.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Did I close the public hearing? Close the public hearing. There we go. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, item number 12 passes with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
Very well. Thank you very much. Good morning, Chief. This morning, we have a public hearing to consider annexation number 209 into the Community Facilities District number 94-01, the City of Hesperia, for fire suppression services. This item was continued from April 29th board meeting and is closed to further public comment. And this morning, we have Chief Muncie presenting.
Thank you very much. The property owners are requesting to annex the APNs identified on the screen, which is located in the City of Hesperia. The city has conditioned that the owners need to annex into CFD 94-01 for the purposes of financing ongoing fire suppression services. This is very normal proceedings. The property development is almost completed per the owners. The property will be used as a car wash. Our staff will verify the building permit issuance with the City of Hesperia. Once the permit is verified, the parcel will have a special tax assessment. The current rate is 0.2264 per square foot for commercial property with an anticipated revenue of $814 per year. Is there any questions?
Thank you very much. Do I have any questions from any board members? All right, this morning I will entertain a motion to approve recommendation number 1. Thank you, Vice Chair Baca.
Hagman seconds.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, the recommendation 1 is approved with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
All right, the resolution that was just adopted calls for a landowner election within the CFD to be held at this time. I will now turn it over to the clerk to tabulate the ballots and announce the results.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The results of the election being in favor of annexation of parcel 3064-471-04-0000, Community Facilities District 94-01, the board may proceed with the final action for the Community Facilities District. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I will now entertain a motion to approve recommendation number 2.
Hagman moves.
Thank you, Supervisor Hagman and Vice Chair Baca on the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With that, recommendation number 2 passes with Supervisor Armendariz absent.
Thank you very much. Item number 114 is a public hearing on Government Code Section 3502.3, the Assembly Bill 2561 on vacancy and recruitment, presentation being presented this morning by Leo Gonzalez, and I will open the public hearing.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Supervisors. I'm Leo Gonzalez, Human Resources Director. I have the pleasure of presenting to you, oh, this is not the right slide. Grant, I'm going to present yours if you don't mind.
Mr. Snoke, if it's okay, my staff can email it to him. We have a copy of that. Okay, thank you.
So that's what happens when I leave for 30 seconds.
We're just waiting. We're done.
Feel better?
I do.
So we need this presentation to meet the statutory requirements. So about 2 more minutes.
Cool. Luther, if it's going to be a minute, I would suggest that we take our general public comment on items not on today's agenda and move that up while we wait for the presentation and pause the public hearing.
I think that's a great move, and we'll make sure we have the right version of the presentation.
Very well. Thank you, Leo. We'll pause this for a brief moment. We'll move on to our general public comment for items not on today's agenda. First up, we have Carlo, who will be followed by Clifford Reed. Carlos, sorry, we flipped the order of things because we are having a technical difficulty. If you'd like to start with your 3 minutes, please do, and then Clifford will be after you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So I've been going to the courthouse there at Dependency Court, and there is a baseline of a simple truth that I can say, which it's very uncomfortable for someone here to even hear it, that when we look at the treatment that my ex-wife received at CFS compared to some of the Black and brown mothers there, you have to ask yourself, what's the difference? And I have to say it's about money. She's able to defend herself. She's able to go ahead and have the boyfriend who my daughter alleged had done stuff to her, pay for her court, pay for her lawyers, and pay for a lot of these things that actually the truth does not come out in. For one example, when she admitted to Fontana PD that she did what she did to my daughter, that never appeared in the CFS report. But I have those deliver service logs. But CFS never put that into the record and only called it historic. And then when my daughter was attacked for wanting to read the Bible, we have one social worker saying nothing happened, but the child advocate said, yes, it happened. But yet what happened was the mother remained custody of the children. I'm looking at the audience here, and I can point out who would survive and who wouldn't, based on looks alone, because that's what I'm seeing there at the courthouse. I invite the board to do like an undercover boss situation and just sit there and talk to them. When did you get your paperwork? Was it within the law, 10 days before your hearing? Or was it 10 minutes before? How can you defend yourself 10 minutes before your hearing? How can you even have a chance to highlight inconsistencies in the report? How can you even have a chance to bring in Mrs. Sneed, who told me she didn't care about my kids getting sprayed in the face with oven cleaner? I would have loved to put her on the stand, but I couldn't because I didn't know what was in the report. I wasn't given a chance. So what I'm saying here, they came for them yesterday. Today, they came for me. Tomorrow, they'll come for you. And that's the raw truth of the situation of the matter here. My kids were attacked by their mother for reading the Bible, but yet we have children over there suffering for less, for much less, and staying in the system for over 4 years.
That's time.
Thank you, sir. Clifford Reed, followed by Jane Hunt-Rubel.
We've got a public safety, Madam Chair and Board, we've got a public safety hazard increasing in the county by property owners not allowing the utilities to maintain their right-of-ways and clear around the power poles, trim the trees down. They're saying, some of them are saying, I don't have a contract with Southwest Gas or Edison, so they're not coming on the property to clean around the poles or trim the trees below it. If we get a storm and a lightning strike, these structures and stuff will catch fire, and then they're gonna blame the utilities for it, not themselves. And it could prevent people from getting out of their homes to get by this stuff. Some of these easements have been in there for the power company for over 80 years. I know because there's one next to my sister's place that has put structures under the power line, putting a 6-foot wood fence, which is flammable if you get tumbleweeds and stuff to start it. And the fire department could be out on another call and not be able to respond there for 10 or 15 minutes and let this take off. I know sometimes that backup from other districts for the fire department take 10 or 15, 20 minutes as fast as they can drive on the highways to respond to this stuff. So I'm asking the board to consider making a rule that code enforcement can go after these people for this instead of the utilities trying to do it, you know, and make it enforceable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jane Hunt-Rubel, who will be followed by Karen Reich.
Good morning, board members. I'd like to thank Baca for his task force and everything about the cars and the off-road vehicles, but it's still a big problem out in Muscoine. It's getting worse because we have a lot of new residents out there due to the state's wonderful ADUs laws. We're just getting too many people out there, and they have no concerns about any laws at all. So I don't know what the issue is, but 2 homes just down the street from me, they have ADUs, and guess what they have in their front yards? Those off-road vehicles, the dune buggies, and I've seen them lately just go up and down the streets, and my neighbors are mad about it too, but I don't know what to do about it, because we need cameras installed up on especially 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue. And it's just getting ridiculous. You can hear them coming down the streets. And I just recently signed on to the sidewalk deal because I really had no choice. But it's not gonna, I'm afraid you're spending millions of dollars on this sidewalk on our side of the street, but it's not gonna do any good because I've seen it in other communities. People ignore the laws. I see them every day racing down the streets. But I signed on to it because I couldn't fight it. But anyway, I just want to tell you about that the situation's getting worse because we're having more and more people moving in, and they're parking on the streets because there's no room when you have 3 homes on a 1 lot now. So I just want to mention that. So to protect our community from further, it's going to get worse. We've already had the fireworks started 2 months ago. But anyway, thank you very much.
Karen Reich is the last request to speak that I have. Karen? All right, we will move back to there she is. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, board. Thank you for your service. I just want to speak today about my grandkids being in foster care for almost a year now. And I just want to say that truth and transparency when it comes to children and their safety and security should be key. Social workers should not be having to lie to remove children. That's a serious problem if that's what's happening, and I witnessed it firsthand. My grandchildren were in my care. They were safe. They were happy. They were well fed. They were not tortured, raped, molested, none of those horrific circumstances that when they took them from me and placed them in foster care at 10:30 at night, that's what I feel like that's when they put them in harm's way, when they put them in foster care. And that's where they've been ever since. There's a news break story that came up most recently about a family up in Victorville who has been accused of torturing 6 children in their care, the mother, the father, the daughter. And, all this is about integrity. It's about character. It's about doing the right thing when no one's watching. They were removed from my care on the very first day of the investigation. My dad served 23 years in the Air Force. Then he retired. He also was a parole officer, parole agent at Fred C. Nellis in Whittier. He retired from there also. He would be rolling over in his grave if he knew what was happening to his great-grandchildren and the due process that we have not been afforded and the lies that were construed just to remove my grandkids. The social worker lied to the judge to get an interview warrant to gain access into my daughter's house where the kids were not at. They were with me. So the fact that that's a serious problem, there's something wrong with that when social workers have to lie to remove kids. These are our kids we're talking about, our future. And I miss my grandkids. I want them to come home. I want them to come home to me or my daughter. She needs her reunification services reestablished so that she can be given a chance to get her kids back. She loves her kids. We all love the kids. We want them home. My grandbaby, the biracial, my Jace, he's biracial. He was put with a paternal aunt, but the twins who were in my care and custody at the time, they were placed in foster care. So again, what are we trying to fill quotas here?
That's time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the last request to speak that I have. We will move back to item number 114 and hope our presentation is ready.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board of Supervisors. Leo Gonzalez, Human Resources Director. I have the pleasure of presenting to you this morning California Assembly Bill 2561, which is local employees vacancy positions. I will navigate us through the status of San Bernardino County's vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. Thank you. AB 2561 became effective January 1, 2025. The bill mandates that the public agencies annually assess and report on job vacancies. This information must present vacancy and recruitment data at a public hearing before finalizing the budget, hence the reason for us being here today. As part of the bill, a 20% vacancy rate has been established as a benchmark. This means that a single bargaining unit reaches or exceeds this threshold, we would be required to provide additional detailed information specific to that unit. The purpose of the law is to enhance transparency. We are encouraged by the opportunity to present to the public the ongoing strategies to address recruitment and retention issues. Next slide. Our agenda today will include our workforce, hiring recruitment strategies, retention strategies, recruitment outcomes, position vacancy summary, vacancies by bargaining unit. I promise to go fast. Our workforce. Who works for the county and what do they do? We're proud to showcase the people behind the services here at the county. The following graphic gives you a snapshot of our county workforce, highlighting the number of dedicated employees, available opportunities, and a glance at the different services that we provide to our community at large every day. The county's total bargaining unit workforce consists of approximately 22,698 employees, with vacancies of approximately 3,475 positions across all bargaining units within the county, making the vacancy rate approximately 15.13% for 40-plus departments within the county. San Bernardino County delivers a wide range of services to support our community, including public safety, health and human services, community services, roads and infrastructure, land use, and environmental services, along with county operations. Next slide. Hiring and recruitment strategies. How does the county find and hire folks? We use various medias to that effect. We include social medias, items such as LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, to share job openings and career opportunities. We participate in outreach events. We use multiple advertising tools. We partner with departments to come up with to build career pathways. We offer programs such as the Spark program for summer youth employment opportunities. We do internships. We have apprenticeship opportunities. And we also have entry-level type jobs to get people to get started with the county and also grow their career with the county itself. We make it easy for folks to apply. We have an online application that is simple, that's mobile-friendly, and that allows candidates to apply for multiple positions all at once. Next slide. Our recruitment strategies. Equally important is keeping a talented workforce. Ways that we're doing this includes, but it's not limited to, of course, making sure the jobs match the work. We review job descriptions to ensure duties reflect accurately. This helps us to stay competitive and consistent across departments. We understand what's working and what's not working. We look at hiring. And staffing trends to help us find the best way of recruiting and retaining that same population. We listen and respond. We work through the union, through labor negotiations. We worked to find competitive pay within the market. This includes extra pay for hard-to-fill positions, bonuses for referrals, and also rewards for those employees that have long tenure with the county. Next slide. Our recruitment outcomes. Oh, thank you. All right, recruitment outcomes. One of the things we ask ourselves, is the county hiring the right people and fast enough? Yes. We're reaching out more people. We've increased our outreach, boosted awareness of county as a great place to work. We're growing our future talent with programs such as Spark, internships, apprenticeships to help us connect and also create the next level of leaders here today. We're hiring faster. We've reduced the time to add eligibility to candidates and they're referred to departments. We host one-day rapid hiring events and do other things along that nature. We keep, another goal for us is we keep jobs filled, right? So strong, this is done through strong recruitment and retention efforts, addressing our low vacancy rates. Go back one, please. Just to share, in 2024, what did we accomplish? The county opened nearly 1,300 recruitment efforts. We had over 130,000 applicants. It took us on average 11 days to develop what we call eligibility list. We had nearly 52,000 applicants that were placed on these eligibility lists. We hired over nearly 2,600 new county employees, and we promoted nearly 2,800. Next slide. This slide represents the position vacancy summary for all bargaining units based on a regular full-time equivalency as of April 9th, 2025. The left side of the slide illustrates the combined county vacancy rate, which is 15.31 as of that date and time. The right side of the slide is a breakout by bargaining units. Now, I want to apologize to you for the small font on this, so we will kind of break this down on the next slide. So just in the next series of slides, what we'll talk about, you'll find our efforts, our strategies that align with us being below the 20% percentile that's been recommended by AB 2561. Next slide. First group up here is Teamsters. On the left side of the slide, you're going to see it's illustrated as 16.72 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center right illustrates the percentage vacancy rate for the various units within the bargaining group. So as an illustrative purposes, administrative unit has a 17.62 vacancy rate, while if you draw your attention to the very last bullet, nurse supervisory and management unit has 14.15 vacancy rate. Again, all the units within the bargaining group are all below the threshold of 20%. Next slide, please. Next slide, this is for the Sheriff's Employees Benefit Association. On the left side of the slide, it illustrates a 7.55 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center right illustrates the percentage vacancy rate for the various units within the bargaining group. So as an example, safety unit has a 5.5 vacancy rate. Safety management and supervisory unit has a 6.78 vacancy rate. The specialized peace officers unit has a 17.10 rate. Specialized fire services has a 9.79 vacancy rate. The specialized peace officers unit has a 9.89 vacancy rate. Next slide, please. Next group up here is SEIU Local 721. On the left side, you're going to see illustrated a 18.71 vacancy rate. The center right illustrates the same percentage vacancy rate. There's only one unit within the bargaining group. So for this reason, it's one and the same. Next up is California Nurses Association. Again, if you draw your attention to the left part, it illustrates a 13.11 vacancy rate. Again, the center right illustrates the same percentage because there's only one bargaining group within this, or one unit within this group. Next slide. Next up is San Bernardino County Local 935. On the left side of the slide, it illustrates a 16.50 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center right illustrates the vacancy rate for the various units within the bargaining group. So this group has three groups. The first being firefighter unit has a vacancy of 18.64. The ambulance operators unit has a vacancy of 3.92. And lastly, the firefighter suppression aides unit has a 16.675 vacancy rate. Next up is SBC Probation Officers Association. On the left side of the slide illustrates a 12.20 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center illustrates the same percentage rate as there's only one unit within this bargaining group. Next up, SBC Public Attorneys Association. On the left side of the slide, it illustrates a 13.68 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center illustrates the same percentage rate as there's only one unit within this bargaining group. Next is the IBW Local 47. On the left side, there's a 14.29 vacancy rate. The center illustrates the same number because there's only one unit within this bargaining group. Next is the IUOE Local 12. On the left side, it illustrates an 18.42 vacancy rate for the bargaining group. The center illustrates the same number percentage because there's only one unit within this group. Okay. Next is SBC Fire Management Association. On the left side, there's a 13.79 vacancy rate for this bargaining group. The center reflects the same because there's only one unit within this bargaining group. We appreciate the continued partnership with the County Administrative Office and the various groups, department leadership, and various bargaining units that allow us to continue to, our recruitment and retention efforts. We know that our goal is to continue to improve on these, but this being our first presentation, if anybody has any questions.
No questions at this time.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's possible next year maybe to look at surrounding counties and how we compare to them.
Absolutely.
That would be fascinating to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely do that. Thank you.
We have one presentation. Good morning, Grant Ward and Alicia Rosa from SEBA. And I do not believe I have any requests to speak on this item from the public. Okay.
That's correct.
Outstanding.
Good
Thank
morning.
you, Madam Chair. Esteemed board, CEO Luther. My name is Grant Ward. I am the president of SEBA, the Sheriff's Employee Benefit Association. I serve as a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department, and I've had the pleasure to be the elected representative, the president of SEBA for the last 7.5 years, representing all the law enforcement professionals in the county of San Bernardino. It is an honor to be sitting here with you, and I appreciate the time. The point for this presentation is to go over the sworn personnel of the Sheriff's Department as well as our probation corrections officers specifically in this presentation. I would be remiss if I didn't make a comment, though, that I am strongly encouraged by the collaboration that we've experienced from this board and from our CEO in not just recent years, but going back since I came into this office. I appreciate the help. It's I know my members. I'm here to advocate for my members and be their voice. I am optimistic, but although I'm currently getting chemotherapy pumped into me for fighting my stage 4 pancreatic cancer, I am not delirious. I am optimistic, and I want my members who are watching this right now to know that we're moving in the right direction. But it's been more troublesome than even what we anticipated, and I'm hoping that this presentation today will kind of open your hearts and minds to understand that there's issues that we do need to address. So this presentation, it's important to note that the county gave us numbers based on entire bargaining units that we represent. While we understand that it's required by law, in our discussion we'll dive into specific classifications in those bargaining units that are most impacted by poor staffing. First, we're going to discuss our safety and safety management units. The safety unit consists of deputy sheriffs and detectives. And for this presentation, we actually excluded our district attorney investigator statistics because at this point, we don't have a problem recruiting and retention within the district attorney as investigators, and that is totally a blessing. We appreciate that. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department has had a long-time mantra of doing more with less, leading our members to adopt a slogan of one deputy, one riot. And common sense recognizes that this is wildly unsafe, and I'm encouraged by recent actions by this board to advocate and pass a voter-approved ballot initiative to ensure our unincorporated county law enforcement operations are provided with adequate funding for resources into the future. It's also important for me to note that I'm optimistic that where we're heading in the future, but in order to actually achieve the goals that we have, we need to take action now to ensure that we have adequate staffing levels to bring those goals to fruition. I also want to say that a key point of my optimism is part of Measure L, which set a minimum standard budget for our unincorporated areas, also ensured a competitive pay for our top county elected officials, our sheriff, our district attorney, our auditor, controller, tax collector, treasurer. This is the reason why I'm optimistic about that is the voters overwhelmingly acknowledge that those key positions need to be paid with what competitive market is. And the competitive market is the average between Los Angeles County, Orange County, Riverside County, San Diego County, and Ventura County. My members want and expect nothing less than just to be paid competitive average. That's what we're going for. Key points on where we're going right now is historically low medical benefits provided by the county. In this is one of our main focuses and frankly one of our main failures within contract negotiations. This is a problem that's been made worse as each contract negotiation since the early 2000s, like since 2003, when the last time we actually, prior to the current contract, had a decent deal from this county. And that caused an influx of lateral transfers, including myself and a group of many of my partners from Los Angeles to come to our county because those negotiations in 2003 were good. The next time we saw a decent contract negotiation was in 2019. So from 2003 to 2019, we had really awful contract negotiations. And in 2019, what we didn't know was that there was going to be a pandemic and a shutdown of the economy, then riots against law enforcement and a critical society to the point where other law enforcement agencies recognized that they needed to address things with rising inflation that has ballooned out of control and the inability to actually recruit police officers within the state of California was very apparent. Well, while we were locked into our contract in 2019, the board did take action to reopen our contract and extend, but we've been on this contract for, it's going to be 6.5 years this October. So it's important to understand that we've fallen further and further behind when it comes to our medical benefits and incentive pays because of CEOs and CAOs of the past, as well as past Board of Supervisors, failed to acknowledge that there's more to competitive labor market than just base pay. As I'm sure you can understand, the excitement of getting into a profession that you worked incredibly hard to land does wear off after a couple of years. The reality of the pay and benefits hit home as soon as you start collecting a paycheck, and our members instantly recognize that their take-home pay is significantly lower than the peers who work for other law enforcement agencies in our area, with whom they just graduated the academy. Like, they all went to the academy together. Our academy training here in San Bernardino County is absolutely world-class. We are training our law enforcement officers to be the best, and we're also training the law enforcement officers from all over the state in the same classes that our deputy sheriffs are trained in. So our members are acutely aware of their professional options when they graduate the academy. Now, this slide right here shows numbers that were provided to us by the county in a couple weeks ago when it's kind of it's a moving target. Frankly, these numbers, when they're a week old, could change drastically because we have people leaving the department and joining the department on a regular basis. Well, the numbers that we received from Employee Resources last week showed that we had 2,176 positions, 167 of those were vacant, for a total vacancy rate of right around 7.7, 7.52. Some depends on how you do the math, but that ebbs and flows. So sometimes it may be 5.5, but then tomorrow it'll be 7. That's just how it goes. But it's also important to know that when broken down further, our deputies are understaffed by over 7%, but this is misleading because our county, in comparison to other large law enforcement agencies, has far lower staffing levels, yet far greater geographic region to provide public safety services to. For example, Los Angeles County has 2-person patrol units for all their unincorporated operations. Not only do we have fewer patrol units assigned to our unincorporateds here in San Bernardino County, but our patrol units are only 1 person. So a that I'm making here is we don't have fat on the bone within the staffing within San Bernardino County. We basically operate as a skeleton crew. And so the fact that we're 5% to 7% understaffed at any given time is a misnomer when you look at Los Angeles County, who is currently stated about 1,400 deputy sheriffs short right now. That's a huge problem. But right now is a time and an opportunity where we could capitalize here in the Inland Empire to make sure that we can recruit and retain qualified people who already live in our county. Because frankly, all the Los Angeles, Orange County guys live here. Not only do we have the sheriff office and the undersheriff have been working diligently with the Board of Supervisors to increase the level of support and staff that we provide in our unincorporated communities, we still do have a way to go. And again, I reiterate my optimism, but the truth does impact the statistics on paper and is absolutely felt by the men and women doing the job of keeping our communities safe. This next slide is a breakdown of classifications of how we arrived at that 11%. We'll move right into the attrition rate right now. This graph shows a steady increase of our members going to other law enforcement agencies. On the uptick since 2020, as we're all aware of. On average, the attrition of deputies leaving San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department from 2020 to 2024 has been roughly 12.4 members per month leaving. This is much higher than other agencies in the region. However, we understand with a larger department, the percentages may actually be similar, but the number of actual men and women leaving are far greater. And that takes us to this next slide. You'll see right here that the county rarely wants to consider police departments as comparables when we're in negotiations. However, we can't ignore that we are competing with police departments. We must reconsider how we view the concept of retention of our members based on the data that we see. The small to mid-sized police agencies have turned a corner recruiting new law enforcement officers. As you can see in this chart here, they have been able to increase their staffing levels to be higher than where they stood in 2020, while the large law enforcement agencies struggle and are on average 5% below staffing levels of where they were in 2020. Pay and benefits are a direct correlation with this trend.
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Along with the quality of life components like special incentive pays in cities that offer more attractive schedules. This is where our members are going to. You'll see they're going all across the board, all kinds of local agencies, as well as leaving the state of California, and frankly, I understand why. Running in the negative, we're basically losing more people than we're able to graduate the academy. Now, the next huge item that I want to bring up is our probation corrections officers are now being asked to do the job of what used to be the California Youth Authority. I would really...
We have the unfortunate situation that we're under the state law on the times that we have to give. So I look forward to... Thank you very much. Questions or comments for our presenters? Not at this time.
Not at this time? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are 30% understaffed in probation corrections. The numbers that the county put forward are a misnomer because of all the underfilled positions.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to collaborative...
Thank you very much. All right. Any further discussion from board members? This is a receive and file item. I will close the public hearing. And with that, we are adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Supervisors meeting will be held here in chambers at 10 a.m. on June 10th. Thank you all.